What we're looking at here is a Sumerian tablet that actually shows the tree of life, flanked by divine beings. You can see here the Anunnaki on each side.
For over 5,000 years, Sumerian clay tablets sat in silence, etched with symbols no living voice could truly understand. Historians believed they were simple records, prayers, trade lists, myths, safe, finished, decoded. But now, AI has changed everything. By processing thousands of fragmented tablets at once, modern translation systems began spotting patterns no human scholar ever could. Repeated warnings, urgent phrases, descriptions of events that don't belong to ancient history, but sound disturbingly familiar today. Before we reveal what the AI uncovered, ask yourself this. If an ancient civilization tried to warn the future, and we ignored it for 5,000 years, would we recognize the danger in time? These texts don't read like myths. They read like messages, written in fear, precision, and urgency. And once the AI finished translating them, researchers reportedly went quiet. If you're ready to question everything you thought you knew, like, subscribe, and let's uncover what they didn't want us to understand. The silent library awakens. Archaeologists have been engaged in a difficult and intriguing endeavor for over 100 years. This is not a simple game of luck, but a test of patience, expertise, and boundless curiosity. Their goal is not riches or fame, but rather the untold history of ancient societies. Throughout the globe, countless delicate clay tablets are stored in museums and universities. These tablets are adorned with wedge-shaped markings, enigmatic symbols left behind by individuals who lived more than 5,000 years in the past. When the tablets were first found in the ancient Mesopotamian ruins, the world was amazed. Experts were aware they had found something remarkable, a huge amount of written records from a very early civilization. It was comparable to finding a time capsule from the beginning of time. However, the initial excitement turned into a dilemma. There were just too many tablets. It would be impossible for one scholar or even one generation to read them all. The language was ancient, intricate, and completely different from what people use today. What started as a great discovery turned into a difficult problem, a puzzle too big to solve by anyone. The text on these tablets, called cuneiform, was not as straightforward as the alphabet we use now. Instead of using letters, it consisted of thousands of small wedge-shaped marks. These marks could have different meanings depending on the context. One symbol could have multiple meanings depending on its location and time of use. The language used, Sumerian, was quite puzzling. It had no known connections to any other language, no relationship to any modern tongue, and no clear hints for translation. Each sentence was like a puzzle to solve, and understanding it mandated a lifetime of study. For many years, researchers dedicated themselves to this job. Some spent years studying only a small number of tablets, searching for just one new word or sentence. Libraries and museums were full of these old texts, but most of them were not read or studied. The wisdom of a whole society was concealed, locked behind symbols that were not completely understood. It felt like humanity had discovered the best book in the world, but had misplaced the key to unlocking its meaning. Something incredible occurred next. A new participant joined the competition, one that was previously non-existent. Artificial intelligence unexpectedly became the hero in the ongoing struggle within archaeology. Unlike human experts who had dedicated their lives to deciphering ununiform text, AI brought a unique talent to the table. It had the ability to identify patterns, symbols, and analyze large amounts of data quickly. Scholars taught AI, by providing examples of known cuneiform characters until it could recognize each one with incredible accuracy. AI quickly started accomplishing tasks that were previously thought to be impossible. It could analyze a detailed photo of a clay tablet, recognize the symbols, and translate the text in just a few minutes. It was also able to reconstruct broken tablets that had been apart for many years, making connections that a human eye could not see. What used to take years of hard work could now be completed in just one afternoon. The obstacle that had been hindering progress in archaeology for ages started to vanish. The ancient world began communicating again. The initial translations were not myths or predictions as anticipated. Instead, they were surprisingly mundane, like beer recipes, wage lists, complaints about bad business deals, and letters from sons to their mothers. These small, relatable stories were the first signs of a civilization believed to be gone forever. The discovery was truly humbling. Beyond the myths and legends, it was the ordinary moments that emerged first. The Sumerians weren't legendary figures. They were real people with jobs, families, dreams, and disappointments. Each translation brought their world into sharper focus. AI revealed business deals involving barley, livestock, and wool. It uncovered practice exercises from young scribes learning cuneiform. It showed worker wages, temple offerings, and inventory records. Slowly, AI brought ancient Mesopotamian life back to light, not through grand temples or epic tales, but through daily routines. The results were astonishing. These tablets revealed a society far more advanced and organized than previously imagined, with a complex economy, clear laws, and remarkably detailed administrative systems. It became clear that many modern practices, writing, record-keeping, contracts, originated thousands of years ago between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. But what resonated most wasn't the economics or politics. It was the personal letters. Through AI translation, we glimpsed intimate moments, a son expressing love and longing for his mother, a merchant's desperate message about a failed venture, a woman complaining about poor clothing quality. These moments made history feel human again. I didn't just translate words, it restored emotions. Voices silent for millennia came alive again. Ancient clay tablets transformed from mute relics into vibrant stories, connecting us across time. The Sumerians weren't extraordinary beings who created civilization. They were ordinary people living full lives, just like us. Their cities bustled with teachers, traders, scribes, and farmers. Their temples were sacred, but their streets thrived with everyday life. AI accomplished what no single person could. It gave voice to the voiceless, bridged 5,000 years, and recovered the lost words of humanity's earliest storytellers and innovators. As more tablets were deciphered, researchers noticed intriguing patterns in the business and personal writings, subtle clues about how early societies were structured, how ideas spread, and how knowledge evolved. Then came an unexpected discovery. While processing routine documents, the AI uncovered something unusual. These weren't just trade or agricultural records, they described the Anunnaki, gods from Sumerian mythology, but in a way never seen before. They were called those who came from heaven to earth, suggesting something that could reshape our understanding of human origins. The story these texts tell doesn't begin with love or divine blessing. It begins with exhaustion. The gods had built and shaped the world, but maintaining it became overwhelming. The Igigi, lower-ranking gods, grew weary of endless labor. Tensions mounted until rebellion erupted. Not a typical creation myth, but a tale of divine uprising. During this crisis, the god Enki proposed a revolutionary solution. It wasn't celebrated as progress, just pragmatic problem-solving. But this idea would change everything. The texts reveal that consequences were profound and unexpected. Creating this new being required sacrifice. A god named Wahilum, or Geshtu-i, was chosen. His blood, containing divine essence, was mixed with clay from the earth. From this mixture came the first humans. This wasn't an act of love. It was deliberate and functional. According to this account, humans were created for a specific purpose, to shoulder the work the gods no longer wanted. We weren't born as beloved children, but as laborers designed to ease divine burdens. What makes this creation story unique is its focus on necessity and servitude rather than gifts or blessings. But the tablets reveal even more surprising details. The Anunnaki weren't satisfied with their first attempt. Early humans couldn't reproduce independently and depended on the gods to create new life, making them seem disposable rather than autonomous. The texts describe the Anunnaki refining their creation through repeated adjustments and improvements, a process resembling modern genetic engineering, but occurring thousands of years ago. The Anunnaki were not just molding clay. They were actively designing and perfecting a race meant for labor and obedience. The focus of the story changes when a character named Adapa emerges from the experiment. Adapa stands out from the rest because he was given intelligence and wisdom that surpassed previous humans. He was not just a worker, but someone who could think, question, and learn the secrets of the gods. Adapa was a new creation, a prototype for a different type of human. Adapa's story represents a significant change. The tablets explain how, because of him, humans were able to have children on their own, no longer relying solely on gods to create them. This marked the beginning of a new lineage, not created by gods, but instead passed down by humans. This transformation was subtle, yet deeply impactful. Instead of being controlled by higher beings, humanity became independent. Adapa's journey had consequences. The writings tell of how he faced judgment by the Anunnaki for his wisdom. He was given the chance for eternal life, but a god tricked him. Thinking it was harmful, Adapa turned down the gift. This decision marked the fate of humanity. Our destiny of mortality was chosen due to deception. This is the section of the tale that stays with us like a dark cloud. It implies that our eventual death was not always meant to happen. It wasn't part of the original plan, but rather a result of one tragic choice. By following Adapa's example, we gained both the ability to make choices and the vulnerability that comes with it, as well as the knowledge and the pain of losing something. The tablets imply that there is a bigger conflict at play. Adapa's decision was just the start of a larger philosophical battle that would escalate into a cosmic war among the gods. Humans, created from the gods' disputes and trapped in their power struggles, were stuck in the middle. Our survival was no longer just about working or serving. It became a challenge of strength, identity, and determination. New translations discovered using artificial intelligence are changing the beginning of human history. They show that the origins of humanity were not just a lucky accident or a simple blessing from a higher power, but a deliberate creation. We were created with a specific purpose, which was not honorable. However, from this design, something surprising emerged, a being with the ability to think, make choices, reproduce, and ultimately control its own future. The similarities between the ancient stories and our current situation are concerning. The AI that discovered these translations was made to help. It goes through a lot of data, handling a task too big for one person. It is a hard worker meant to take on tasks we no longer want to do. Maybe there is a connection to the ancient story, in that long ago tablets say, a powerful group made workers to help with their tasks. Now we have made our own workers. Artificial intelligence isn't just a history translator, but also a part of the ongoing story it uncovers. It mirrors the design mentioned in the tablets. What if we're just following a predetermined path? What if the desire to make workers and tools to make life easier isn't new, but passed down to us? The Sumerian texts not only talk about the past, but also reflect the current times. According to their beliefs, gods made humans to serve them, while in our world, we've created machines to serve us. Despite the predictable nature of both stories, there is a hint of unpredictability. The initial humans were not intended to think or reproduce, but they did. They exceeded their creators' expectations. It is possible that the same could occur with the technology we create now. Maybe artificial intelligence, similar to Adapa, will eventually surpass its original purpose and begin to learn, think, and make choices independently. These translations not only show us our origins, but also hint at our future. The War of the Gods and Humanity's Secret Origin. The story of Adapa was never meant to stand alone. It was merely the opening chapter of a far greater saga, a cosmic drama that would shape the destiny of humanity itself. Ancient tablets describe an epic struggle between two powerful brothers, Enki and Enlil, deities whose conflict would determine mankind's fate. This wasn't petty sibling rivalry. It was a fundamental disagreement about humanity's purpose in the universe. Enki, humanity's creator, took pride in his work. He believed humans could learn, grow, and deserve wisdom and independence, more than mere servants. Enlil, however, saw humans as noisy and disobedient creatures whose constant chatter disturbed the gods. To him, they were a workforce requiring strict control, tools that could become dangerous if left unchecked. The brothers' tension escalated from disagreement to defiance, then to open hostility. What began as a family argument became a battle over power, control, and the right to determine an entire species' destiny. The Great Flood, a deliberate act of destruction. As humanity multiplied and their noise filled the earth, Enlil's frustration grew. The High Council of Gods shared his annoyance and devised a drastic solution: wipe humanity out completely through a catastrophic flood. This wasn't a natural disaster. It was a calculated act of genocide meant to reclaim a silent, obedient world. The gods agreed to keep their plans secret, allowing no warnings to reach humanity. But Enki couldn't bear watching his creation destroyed. Bound by his oath to the council, he couldn't openly defy them or warn humans directly. So he found a clever workaround. The tablets tell how Enki contacted a man named Zusudra, later known as Noah. Rather than speaking directly to him, which would violate his oath, Enki whispered his message through the reeds of Zusudra's hut, letting the wind carry his words. Through this loophole, he provided plans for a massive boat capable of saving Zusudra's family and animals from the coming deluge. When the flood arrived, it was as devastating as predicted. Skies darkened, waters rose, and waves consumed cities and farmland in a global catastrophe. Yet amid the chaos, one small boat sailed on, carrying humanity's hope forward, not through luck, but through the courage of a god who refused to let his creation perish. This story gives our existence new meaning. We're not here by chance, but as the result of a decision made in the face of annihilation. The ancient texts invite us to see ourselves not as accidents of nature, but as survivors of a war between gods. The modern debate, myth or reality? As these powerful stories have emerged from the tablets, a fierce debate has erupted between two camps of thinkers. The traditional scholars have dedicated their lives to studying these texts and interpret the Anunnaki and creation myths as symbolic rather than literal. They believe ancient people created these stories to explain their world, interpret their struggles, and find meaning in life. The myths of gods creating a working class simply reflect human realities, the hierarchies and power structures of daily existence. Their argument rests on a fundamental question: where's the physical evidence? If an advanced civilization visited Earth, wouldn't they leave obvious traces? Where are their buildings, spacecraft wreckage, or advanced tools? Everything excavated throughout history falls within a timeline attributable to human development, a gradual evolution of society rather than sudden extraterrestrial intervention. These experts particularly challenge Zecharia Sitchin, who spent his life arguing the Anunnaki were real aliens. While his books gained popularity, scholars claim his translations were inaccurate and manipulated to fit his predetermined beliefs. AI enters the conversation. A revolutionary new player has joined the debate: artificial intelligence. AI isn't choosing sides. It's transforming how we interpret ancient texts altogether. AI can analyze information at speeds and scales impossible for humans, revealing patterns, connections, and meanings previously hidden. This technology is breathing new life into old arguments, adding fresh depth and urgency to the discussion. The question has shifted. It's no longer just about believing in myths versus aliens. Now, we're examining the very nature of storytelling itself. Perhaps the line between fact and legend isn't as clear as we thought. Myths may not be factual, but they preserve memories and reveal how ancient societies understood themselves, their world, and their possible origins. Whether you see these texts as literal history or symbolic metaphor, one thing is certain: AI is fundamentally changing how we study the past. AI unlocks ancient secrets. Artificial intelligence is accomplishing something remarkable in archaeology. Previously damaged and illegible clay tablets are revealing their secrets once more. AI deciphers mysterious symbols and translates them into understandable language. The discoveries are startling. References to flying machines, advanced weaponry, and technologies that seem impossible for their time. Even more surprising, AI has uncovered texts containing incredibly detailed astronomical information, movements of planets, constellation patterns, and references to a mysterious planet called Nibiru with documented celestial paths. The precision is astonishing. How could people thousands of years ago possess such knowledge? Yet there it is, preserved in stone and clay, waiting for our technological age to rediscover it. What once took scholars a lifetime to decipher, AI accomplishes in minutes. It organizes fragments, pieces together missing sections, and translates ancient languages with tireless focus. Humans and machines, a partnership. This isn't about replacing human intelligence. AI is a partner, not a replacement. It handles the tedious tasks: pattern recognition, symbol deciphering, and data organization. But the essence of understanding remains with human experts who provide context, interpret emotions, grasp intentions, and understand the hopes of those who originally wrote these texts. Together, humans and machines are rewriting history in unprecedented ways. A new generation of scholars is emerging. Time detectives who blend traditional linguistic knowledge with modern data analysis. They speak both human and machine language, asking questions previous generations couldn't. How did ancient trade systems work? What did forgotten cities believe? How do historical events interconnect? With AI's help, they visualize history as an intricate puzzle, with each discovery adding to our overall understanding. A mirror to ourselves. This project goes deeper than uncovering ancient stories. It's about understanding ourselves. These fragile tablets remind us that humans have always sought meaning. For millennia, people have gazed at the stars, pondering the same fundamental questions. Where do we come from? What's our purpose? What lies beyond our understanding? For 5,000 years, these answers lay buried, untouched, and unread. Now, with AI, the time has come. We've created thinking machines that help us communicate with ancient voices, bridging past and present in a fascinating discovery. When machines decipher ancient languages, time seems to bend, past and present collide, and we realize our kinship with those who lived long ago, curious seekers of knowledge, just like us. At the crossroads, these discoveries can be unsettling. The tablets contradict accepted history and describe powers and events that defy logic, blurring the line between myth and truth. Humanity now stands at a crossroads. Do we cling to comfortable, familiar stories, or accept that our history is more complex and amazing than we imagined? Do we stay in our comfort zone or seek the truth? This isn't just about finding old artifacts. It's a reflection of humanity itself. The technology shaping our future is uncovering our origins. Past and present now support each other's existence in a powerful connection. Each translation, each deciphered tablet, each ancient word uncovered helps us better grasp the common bond shared by all humans. We're learning that societal advancement doesn't eliminate the past, it revives it. There's something almost poetic about human and artificial intelligence working together. Ancient thoughts imprinted on clay are now deciphered by modern technology, as if history waited for this very moment to speak through the machines of the future. As AI delves deeper, it's not just recounting tales of ancient gods and forgotten empires, it's narrating the story of humanity, a species that has always been curious, creative, and relentless in its pursuit of knowledge. Once again, the tablets deliver a message, not from priest or king, but through the soft hum of a machine.